Alright, so in this video I'm looking to give you a brief yet comprehensive understanding of what player roles are in terms of Valorant. Even though some of the roles may be identical to those in Counter-Strike, Valorant is quite different due to the fact that each agent has a kit that makes it more specified at playing a certain role. And as you cannot buy utility in Valorant, the selection of these agents becomes even more important. There are about 5 main roles in Valorant that I'm going to be going over. These include entry fragger, support, lurker, IGL, and a refragger/playmaker. Now first of all, let's talk about entry fraggers. Now, what makes a good entry fragger? Entry fraggers will generally have very good aim and very quick reaction speeds. They won't be afraid to die and they'll have very high levels of confidence. The entry fragger is going to be the first person onto the site and generally will have the most deaths as well. Well, what actually is the purpose of an entry fragger? Well, like the name suggests, they need to get the first pick, the first frag to open up the site and allow the rest of the team to come in. However, if the entry fragger doesn't get the pick, their job is not necessarily failed, because the entry fragger can also be refragged by the support player or the refragger. A few agents who have their kits directed towards the entry fragger position would be Phoenix with his curveball to get an entry flash onto the site, Reach with his flash ability to flash through walls, giving him the upper hand on blinded opponents, and also potentially Raze with her grenades that would allow her to get a pick without even peeking the corner. The second role that we're going to take a look at is the role of the support. Now the support is almost crucial in games such as Valorant. But what makes a good support? Now the first thing would be very good map and teammate awareness for both heals and smokes. Secondly, it would be great communication, and lastly, would be a very good understanding of their kits, abilities, and when the best moments are to use them. The support's abilities will allow them to aid their team in terms of gaining map control through smokes, well-placed walls, and most importantly, healing their teammates too. Another branch from the supports could be the information agents. These are Sova and Cypher, whose abilities allow them to gain information on the whereabouts of the enemy team. I don't want to go too much into detail on the agent specifically, but I think that we can confidently say that those that are supports are Sage, Brimstone, Sova, and Cypher, all being invaluable to a team. So in brief, a support's job is to make the game a hell of a lot easier for the rest of the players, whether that's by healing them up when they get hit, or just trying to gain more map control and make it a lot easier to push sites. The next role we're going to talk about is a lurker. Now what is a lurker? A lurker is a singular player who's going to try and play away from their team deliberately on a separate bomb site or location in order to gain crucial information or potentially picks that could change the game. Now, what is required to be a great lurker? First of all, a lurker needs to be extremely confident in playing alone. They also need to have great map knowledge and game knowledge, and most importantly, very good trigger discipline. A lurker will generally position themselves in a different place to where the bomb's planted in order to try and cut off the rotation from the other team. This will allow them to maybe pick up some picks and slow down the push. A lurker with great trigger discipline will be able to not shoot the first player they see in order to wait and potentially have greater impact for their team. Flanking the enemy and having the element of surprise are quintessential to lurking in Valorant. And there are 2 agents whose kits make them absolutely perfect for this. The first being Jet with her movement abilities allowing her to be in places that no one would ever expect, and Omen with his teleportation and smokes. The refragger or playmaker. Now what is a refragger or a playmaker? Well, if you ever go in second to the entry, you're technically refragging if they die. It's just a general term given to anybody that follows up the entry fragger and is able to get that second pick should he die or if there's another one available. What makes a good refragger or playmaker? For a start, you need to be very observant and good at taking in all information available. They also need to be very quick at decision making. And lastly, they need to be reactive. Now what all of these mean is you basically need to be able to take in the information given to you by the entry fragger and make a decision where and how you're going to take this next fight. whether you take that fight instantaneously and trade that frag, or wait or rotate. This is the kind of player in your team that you can always rely on. They're very solid aim, they're very aware, they have good communication, and they're always going to be able to try and pull back those clutch situations where it matters the most. Now, due to these things, there's a few agents that fit quite well into the role. Now, these would be agents such as Viper, Brimstone, Sova, Sage, anyone with some self-sustain and abilities that allow them to try and make plays against the odds. Finally, we're going to talk about the last but most definitely not least important role, the role of the IGL. Now, the IGL is perhaps one of the most difficult roles in the game, as it's not a set role alone that you play, such as the entry fragger, but one that you must do alongside to your general role. Now, why this is important is because this is the person that's looking out for the entire team. They're aware of everything. To be a great in-game leader, you need to be great at macro managing, very good at micromanaging, but above all else, they need to be able to make decisions in the split second. They need to be able to decide on things based on what the enemy team is doing, come up with new strategies and new ways to combat what's currently going on in the game that you're playing. You're going to be looking at rotates, you're going to be looking at the players on site, you're going to be looking at your team's positioning. You're going to also need to do everything for yourself too. You need to make sure that you're in the right place to go along with the strategies. This is the person that comes up with the plays that get you those solid wins. Now, even though this is a role in itself, I don't think there are any agents that specifically go with this. While it might be easier to play somebody that stays at the back and isn't always in the heat of the gunfight so you can think easier, it's not necessarily partnered with any agents. The in-game leader is most definitely the role with the most responsibility, but if it's done right, it will have the greatest impact on the team itself. Thank you very much for watching the video. I really do hope that you enjoyed it and found it somewhat useful. If you do have any feedback or anything that you think I could do better, please make sure to leave that in the comments, and if you would like to see me maybe cover another topic in Valorant, please also leave that down below, as I'd love to make this a recurring series, as I really enjoyed doing this. I put a lot of effort into it. I hope that shows. And if you want to catch me live, I stream Valorant every day from 2 o'clock BST, so make sure to check me out, twitch.tv/gommru. And yeah, until next time, boys, peace.